Well, I guess if you say so. Unlike the games, Sonic TV shows are always fantastic. Even the Sonic Boom show is great, and honestly, my favorite one out of the bunch. Taking the spot as my #1 comfort show. But that's an episode for another day. Today, I want to talk about a show that I thought was beyond fantastic, and while it was ruined by the ending, believe me, we will talk about that later. I am talking about this one. The one loved by everybody. The one that has the most unique premise. The one that... Wait, what?
Hello, I'm Sonic. When you've got a crew like mine, there's nothing that can stop you.
My name is Fusion, and Sonic Prime is fantastic. And I'm tired of pretending it's not. This show gives me so much high school nostalgia, as it first came out when I was in grade 9. Wow. Holy unk. Since this is a Netflix show, and I don't want this episode to be claimed to oblivion, enjoy the gameplay in the background with various shots of trailers. But first, get the last place. Next video, whoever gets last place in this one has to do the bendy dance. Now, let me tell you something about the show and why I like it so much. Unlike older Sonic cartoons that were mostly just standalone adventures, Sonic Prime tells one continuous multiverse story. What I'm mad about is that they had this world that was generally more depth than all of One Piece, and they ruined it with the ending. This show was ruined by the ending, is what I would say if I was a stupid fat chut. How can a show be ruined by the ending? That's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Videos like these just piss me off because they put a whole show's weight on how it ends. And if it's bad, like Dexter or Stranger Things, that means the whole show's ass? Yeah, I don't think so, dog. Story begins in Green Hill, where Sonic fights Dr. Eggman as usual. During the battle, Sonic accidentally shatters a powerful artifact called the Paradox Prism, after his friends repeatedly told him not to. This explosion fractures reality into multiple alternate dimensions called shatter spaces. Each shatter space contains different versions of Sonic friends, twisted by how the world is formed. And that's how season 1 starts off. Also known as the best season of the show. People hate this characterization of Sonic, and to that I say... Why? Why? Do you not understand Sonic at all? This guy's fresh out of countless adventures and feeling very cocky. Hell, he was late to... whatever this was. He's impulsive and tends to rush into situations without thinking, which directly leads him into shattering the Paradox Prism and fracturing the universe. At first, he believes he can fix everything easily, but as he travels through the shadow spaces, he slowly realizes the consequences of his recklessness. Despite the chaos, he remains optimistic as always and deeply loyal to his friends, especially Tails, who he has let down time and time again before the events of the show, that we see through flashback segments, of course. But with that context out of the way, let's talk about the shadow spaces. First off, we have New York City. New York is a dark dystopian shadow space that was first created from the Paradox Prism destruction, representing a world where freedom and nature have been replaced by cold industrial control. The city is ruled by the Chaos Council, 5 alternative versions of Eggman who maintain power through heavy surveillance, advanced robotics, and strict authoritarian rules in certain areas that you'll find out later. All that stuff gets revealed in Season 3, by the way, but there's no time to explain that. Each sector is home to one doctor, Mr. Dr. Eggman, the leader, and his team consisting of Dr. Don't, Dr. Dunnit, Dr. Deep, and Dr. Babbles. Unlike the bright and open Green Hill, New York is metallic, polluted, and heavily monitored, creating a sense of oppression, kind of inspired by a book I read in high school. We see this in the characters too. 9 is this universe's version of Tails, and since Sonic wasn't around to save him from the bullies, aka how Sonic and Tails met in the first place, he's turned to a complete and utter... what's the word I'm looking for? Toronto man? Is that stupid? You guys understand what I mean, right? Now, let's not beat around the bush here. Obviously, this guy's a twist villain. But how was I supposed to know they're gonna do it in such a lame way? Nux and Rebel are also really cool characters. Same with Rusty. Showing that she has a flicky trapped inside her that completely contradicts Amy's character is just heartbreaking. Something I want to bring to light is the writing of the show. Apparently it's bad. Excuse me? Son, this is a kid's show. That's the thing they're writing for Sonic Boom is childish. Yeah, no shit. But even if it is childish, that doesn't mean it's not good. Sure, Sonic is the fast-talking, confident, thrill-seeking hedgehog we expect, but the show puts him in situations where his impulsive actions causes serious consequences. The flashback scenes where he slowly realizes the consequences of his actions and his fallout with Tails and all his other friends. But anyway, I spent enough time in New York. The boss cage is next. This is an alternate dimension where Eggman never caused trouble, so the greenery had a chance to grow. Grow a little too much. Now, I'm gonna be honest here. I forgot these guys' names. But if I remember so, Prim, Meiji, and Gnarly try to scavenge food, but are stopped by Thorn, the quote-unquote Amy of this world. After the boss cage, we fall back into New York and we learn something very important in the show that's never really utilized, but time moves differently between dimensions. Sonic has been at the boss cage for like, what, a day? And it's been 2 weeks in New York time. The resistance is formed against the Eggman Council and they really don't trust Sonic, just in case he leaves again. So what does he do? He leaves again. No Place is the complete opposite of the boss cage, and it's almost all water. And yes, there are pirates. I'm much at pirate talk later after we leave the shadow space and find the shard that Dredd is definitely not going to take for himself later on. We meet up with Shadow, who's also trapped in the void. And he says, oh, you thought I was going to play the clip? No. I actually liked money. But he says, home doesn't exist anymore because of you. And that's the end of season 1. Not even beating around the bush, this is the best season of the show by far. Besides pacing issues like No Place, I would argue to say it's almost perfect. But ow, I don't know if you heard that, but I hit my knee on the table. The No Place variants are so funny too. Like Sales. The Tails variant is named Sales. Genius. Also, Catfish is a character too, but that's an inside joke only Lucas understands. He knows what he did. What really intrigued me is the lore of this multiverse, which I was then disappointed by. But let's save our thoughts for the end and talk about season 2, the second best season in this 3-season show. Wow, I wonder which one's the worst. Taking place right after the events of season 1, Shadow reveals that he got stuck into whatever this is and takes Sonic back to Ghost Hill. Anyway, after their fight, the real plot of the show gets revealed. If they attach all the shards to the blueprint of the real one, before everything was destroyed in the first place, Shadow has a theory that he quotes, "We can bring it all back." And so, that's exactly what they do. This is where the show starts to slow down for a couple people, but me? This was peak. I don't care what you say. Granted, there's still some more weird issues, like if this is canon, and it is, why is Sonic so surprised when he sees Chaos Sonic for the first time? Because isn't there a more well-known robot that he has seen many times before? Also, this is where the writing kind of shifts. Sonic starts to realize that his impulsive actions cause the world to literally fracture, and the narrative consistently challenges him to slow down, listen to Shadow, and think about others, including Nine. That self-awareness becomes the emotional core of the season. Everybody also turns on Nine because are we really going to trust the most obvious twist villain here? This gives the show a real dilemma that I actually like a lot. Are Nine and the others real? This is actually my favorite part of season 2. Near the end of episode 7 or 8, I think. Nine and Sonic transport all the shards to Ghost Hill while being chased by the Council. Then we get a few shots, them jumping from shadow space to shadow space, and Nine sees the others. Like him. He knew they existed the whole time, sure. But just imagine seeing another you. You probably freak out, right? I don't want to risk this episode getting claims, so I won't show the actual footage, but take my word for it, the fights in this season are top notch, animated perfectly. I'm glad to give Shadow a bigger role since season 1. He was basically non-existent back then. Anyway, after Sonic uses the shard to power up to get a new form that isn't supersonic, we'll talk about that later, he takes down the Chaos Council and Nine tries to put the world back together. However, he has a change of heart. Now, I was looking at the screen like, cause yeah, I knew he was gonna be a twist villain. What the hell, it was so obvious. Nine wants to build his own shadow space called the Grim, where he and Sonic could live together. Nine was oppressed by the world around him. No friends, family, nobody to turn to. Now that he has Sonic, he finally found a true friend. When Sonic declines and wants to stay in Green Hill, Nine raises a good point. What do you think is gonna happen to me when you put the prison back together? Sonic assumes she's gonna live with the real Tails, back in Green Hill, and Nine crashes out and says that he is real, which I half agree with, and we'll get to that later. After that, he takes the shards and leaves, saying he can only trust himself, revealing that he is the true villain of Sonic Prime. And that's the end of Season 2. Season 3, oh dear God, where did you go wrong? Let's backtrack. Was a twist lame and predictable? Yeah, but that doesn't mean it wasn't valid. Of course it was. I love writing, and I think the thing that makes a twisted villain fantastic above all else is when they have the ability to do good, but choosing not to. I was watching Zootopia 2 with Jeffrey and Jane, and I don't think they understood how good the Paw Bear twist was. Oh, did I spoil that movie? I'm sorry, but he could have been the good guy. He wasn't accepted by his family, and wanted to be a rebel. And no, I'm not showing the footage, because if Netflix would clear my stuff, imagine what Disney would do. Anyway, he decided that he actually wants to be accepted into his family, and turns on Nick and Judy. 9 has the ability to be good, but he chooses not to. Sadie has wronged him one too many times, and that's where Season 3 picks up. The Chaos Council is actually helping Sonic this time around, because the world's kind of falling apart after seeing that 9 has gone full crazy mode. And this is where the season starts to fall apart. The pacing feels so rushed after the build-up in Season 2, especially with 9 of the Paradox energy. The final season has to wrap up everything quickly. Instead of slowly escalating the emotional tension, it moves fast toward the final showdown of the Grim. Speaking of the Grim, that's where 90% of this season takes place. 9 is set up as this tragic ideological rival, but by Season 3, the conflict becomes more straightforward, less philosophical, more action-focused. And while that's not bad, some of us, including me, want a deeper exploration of 9's trauma and worldview, instead of shifting quickly into large-scale battles. Considering that's 90% of anime, I'm sure the guys would love this show. Okay, that was a joke, I'm sorry. Another issue is the emotional payoffs. Seasons 1 and 2 heavily emphasize growth. Sonic's learning of responsibility, understanding consequences, valuing his friends more thoughtfully, and Season 3 resolves that arc, but in a more predictable way. Like, sure, it sticks to landing, and the way it tries to, but it doesn't always surprise you. Something I love about the show is the lack of Supersonic. You see, one of the emeralds is lost to the void, so we only have 6 instead of the 7. Okay, bad jokes aside, I like this premise a lot. What I don't like is how Shadow fights alongside Sonic in episode 1 and gets bodied and reappears near the end. Huh? This season was just overall rushed, unfortunately. And what hurts me the most is the ending. Listen, 9 was compelling not because he was evil, but because he was hurt and wanted control. By the end, the conflict comes more straightforward. Stop 9, fix the world, deal with the Eggmans later, blah blah blah. Like, I thought there was going to be like a choice, like, oh, maybe this guy might not actually be the bad guy, but it's like, no, it doesn't even matter. Because he has a lame change of heart at the end and gives the shards back. Well, what happened to 9 after? What happened to the others? The Shadow Spaces, the Council? Well...
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, team, we gotta go fast!
Are we serious? Like, this has to be some kind of joke, right? You build this whole multiverse up, and the ending is that it loops back to the beginning, and none of that even happened. Let's just pretend the Shadow Space still exists, which they probably still do because it's left open-ended. 9's fate is more ambiguous. He's not treated as pure evil. He's shown some remorse and hurt by loneliness. The ending leads more into something hopeful rather than tragic. Emphasize that Sonic has matured and understands the value of his friends more deeply than before, which is kind of nice, but like, I took a creative writing class. This is no way to end a show. But what's done is done, unfortunately. Well, that was Sonic Prime. I don't care what anybody says. I will forever love this show. It's my second favorite Sonic series right under Boom. Yeah, that's right, I said it. Fight me. The fight choreography, the fluid and dynamic animation, the emotional growth at 9 is just... it's so peak! Shows aren't ruined by their ending. It's just an unfortunate rare case. Something I like about the series as a whole is that instead of random alternate worlds, the Shattered Spaces reflect how different environments shape the same characters. You see how Amy's character changes without hope, Knuckles changes without loyalty, and Tails changes without love and support. 9, Dread, and Thorn are real, not because they're characters, but because the real versions can become their counterparts without the aforementioned needs. Sonic Prime is amazing through and through, and maybe I'm just a sucker for multiverse stories, which, by the way, if there's an anime for that, let me know, because I've been trying to get into that. I love the show. Anyway, I've been Fusion, and Sonic Prime is fantastic, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. Thanks for watching.